Hello everybody and welcome back to the WTF1 Podcast. Today we're obviously talking about the Belgian Grand Prix. Of course, before we begin, we must mention the extremely sad moment that occurred on Saturday in the first F2 race. We lost a highly talented driver in Anthoine Hubert, which was kind of shocked and devastated the motorsport community completely. Our thoughts and prayers are with Antoine's family, friends, anyone that knew him. You could kind of see that up and down the paddock. You could see it in the F1 drivers, especially the likes of Pierre Gasly, and you've grown up with him, and it was really quite a sad and shocking thing for me, and for you guys as well, and everyone. And to be fair, there were some incredible tributes from fans, drivers, everyone online. It was almost like the motorsport community at times like this do come together in such a beautiful way. And I mean, we just want to say that our thoughts and prayers are going out to everybody who's been affected by this. So we have to move on and talk about the race now. And I'm Matt.
I'm Tommy.
I'm Jess.
And welcome. We're in our lovely... You've never seen this room before, actually. This is our new Dennis office room, isn't it? With our flowery kind of backdrop, and we sound good as well. We've got some noise cancelling, so...
Finally, we've levelled up.
Finally.
It's only taken us a season and a half.
I know.
But now we're here.
We're finally out of the cardboard box. The vroom room, as we called it.
R.I.P. the vroom room.
I would say I miss it, but I really don't.
I know.
It's great to be out of it.
It's nice to be able to walk round the table without going under it and squeezing between boxes.
We literally
and
can't
stuff.
get out of the room right now, but sure.
That's for audio padding.
Yeah, it's for the benefit of you guys. Anyway, let's move on to three-word race reviews from the Belgian Grand Prix. So we had a few nice ones. We had Govert Cake, says racing for Hubert. Luc Mathiesen, I chose the worst names as per usual. Very mixed feelings. Vivi, Seb, it's James. And Juliana Rossum, final lap chaos. A mixture of three-word race reviews, probably the biggest mixture we've seen for quite some time. Now, obviously, we've mentioned the Hubert incident. Adam Reed asked something about, in terms of the future implications for Spa. Obviously, Eau Rouge Raidillon, it's a classic corner, and it's one that's known throughout motorsport. But is there anything that Spa can do moving forward that can change it at all, or is that how it stays?
Something I'm sure they're going to have a discussion about. It's a difficult one to talk about, and obviously the only people that really are the experts and will no doubt investigate it are the FIA. You could argue that we need the tarmac runoff there. He didn't scrub off any speed. There's quite a short runoff there as well, which meant that he sort of darted back onto the track. Obviously, when you've got many cars coming through that corner at that speed, it was sadly a freak accident. And I think it was Andrew Benson that wrote a great article about it.
I read that.
And I definitely recommend everyone to read that. But unfortunately, there's only so much that a human can take, and unfortunately, that was just a very freak accident, as we've seen before. Nothing like halos or anything could have done much more than that, really.
It's a shocking realisation, I think, to fans. You kind of get this reminder that these guys are absolute motorsport heroes, and they put their lives on at risk every single time they seek to entertain us. So
we're so used to people, having huge, enormous crashes. I remember Alonso in Australia flipping in the gravel, and they just walk out, and we've come to expect that. And it's unusual for us to be doing this now because we've been doing WTF1 together for like 3 years and the podcast for a couple of years, and this is sadly the first time that we've had to do this, where it's a very difficult one, because at the end of the day we are fans, and it's something I personally found quite difficult as media, having to watch that as a fan. Obviously very upsetting scenes, very affected by it, and the first thing I have to do is obviously jump on a laptop and make content about it, which is very difficult.
Yeah, because we're not just official F1 media, we're fans, we're very emotionally connected to the sport, and that's what makes it very difficult.
I think though that it just something that really affected a lot of people is the feel or the need to share images and clips from the crash, like immediately afterwards. I think it was immediately obvious that crash was serious.
Yeah.
It's one of those that you just feel sick to your stomach the second you see it. Yeah.
And obviously the argument is like the media have a right to report on something like that, but I think when there's no replay, there's a reason there's no replay.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And until there's confirmation either from via radio to hear that the drivers are okay, or via the medics that the drivers are okay, or they're at least in a stable situation, I just think it's hugely disrespectful to take clips and put them online. Like, I understand people want to understand what happened, and I know that a lot of people will have gone searching for those clips, not out of malice or disrespect, but I think it's just a case of, if there is no official footage of that, or that, F1 has decided, or the broadcasters have decided not to re-show that crash, there's a reason, and it does come down to respect and kind of what we were talking about before. Like, these are human beings that, yes, are choosing to put themselves into a very fast-moving vehicle where there are risks, but they are still humans at the end of the day, and they deserve respect. And not only do they deserve respect, but their families deserve respect. And the idea that they would be frantically searching for information about their child, they don't need to see that over and over and over again. So I just implore anyone listening that if for any reason this happens again, please don't share those clips, please.
Yeah, I agree. Like you were saying, it brings... There were certain things that brought out the best in the motorsport community, which were things like the amazing tributes and the applauding on lap 19, but unfortunately it also brings out some very awful things where, people are quick to put a video online and go, oh my God, this is crazy, without thinking that, like you were saying, that is someone's son, brother, friend, whatever in that. So not
absolutely
cool.
And I'm on the same stance as that. There were, I'm not going to name names, but there were big profile figures sharing fan videos, which were even more horrifying than the actual F1 feeds. And for me, I cannot comprehend why anyone would want to do that. So hey ho, let's move on from that and actually talk about the race, shall we? Shall we do that? Shall we perk up just a tiny bit if we can?
I think just to say that, though, you have to commend the fact that, as sad, and I think it was palpable, even if you weren't there, it was palpable that there was a cloud over the whole weekend after something like that happening. It's hugely tragic, but you have to applaud the fact that those guys still raced, and it was a good race.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think let's talk about it, because it really, really was a good race.
Yeah, and for the argument of people that saying maybe we shouldn't have raced, but I think that we mentioned before the podcast began, that's not how they would have wanted it. It's not how Anthoine would have wanted it. This is what they do. They put their lives on the line, and I think it's a good thing that we did race, personally. And
agreed. Yeah.
And as we said, we had a good race. So let's move on to my 3-word race review to begin with. Then, so I put the stars align as my 3-word race review. Obviously, talking about Charles Leclerc's first ever win. It didn't come easy, that's for sure.
Almost sums up his life story so far, really. That it's becoming almost movie-like. His story with he lost his father and had did really well in GP2 Jules and everything as well. And
his godfather as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's had a very difficult... I mean, he's 22, and he's had a very difficult route through motorsport, but he finally won his race, and it was obviously... everyone jokes I'm a fanboy, blah, 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 but I think everybody wanted to see Charles Leclerc win. Martin Brundle said, I'm supposed to be impartial, but I want him to win. And I don't think there was anyone out there that would have taken that against him. Jake Ferrari 5 says, how is Matt after Leclerc getting his first F1 win?
Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, it's a weird one, because deep down I am ecstatic for him, but I am still very much numb and shocked by everything that's happened. And so, yeah, and I think the same with Charles himself. He was like, this is a dream come true, and yet this isn't how I should be feeling. And
yeah.
But yeah, obviously I'm ecstatic for him, but at the same time it has a cloud over it.
You were pretty nervous. I was WhatsApping you, I think, at the end of the race, and your messages were along the lines of "not again, not again," and it did feel just like Austria, just like Bahrain, and there were moments during that where I was just thinking, is this going to happen every race that Leclerc almost wins? It just seemed crazy that it was going down to the wire again.
Absolutely. And in the first stint we saw that Ferrari were quicker. They Leclerc had the match for Vettel just about had the match over Hamilton, but then as soon as they changed over tyres, obviously Vettel went through his softs very, very quickly, which completely threw him, which we didn't know at the time. We thought, okay, what's Ferrari doing here? Are they giving Vettel the undercut? I was sat there like, huh?
Yeah.
Are they going to pit Leclerc anytime soon? Obviously they didn't. Are you all right there, Tom?
Sorry,
You're just coughing away, mate. You just get it out. There we go.
Water.
Yeah,
lovely.
I'm going to get some water. Go on.
Are you getting emotional because Max didn't win? Okay, cool.
Max didn't even survive lap 1.
Oh,
I
no,
know,
he didn't.
exactly.
But yeah, so I think at the time, wow, you're making some serious audio.
This is the loudest water.
Are you good? Are we okay now? Are we
That's why I
back?
wasn't going to get some water, because it's like a
Just
screw top.
leave the cap off. Just don't kick it over.
I'm going to have to make a timestamp purely for you drinking water.
It's become long enough to be a feature.
This is a topic now.
This is a new feature in the podcast.
Anyway, carrying on. But yeah, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I was sat there going, okay, this is Vettel has pit early. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, what's going on here?
A lot of people were saying that it was just to try and make Mercedes blink. But
and
it didn't
they
work.
didn't
And
blunk.
I think a lot of the reaction as well was, especially when Leclerc came out behind Vettel, that it was like, hang on a minute, our Ferrari.
Yeah, what have you done?
Yeah, Ferrari trying to make Vettel win this race despite Leclerc clearly having better pace.
But in reality,
they played an absolute blinder. I mean, they.
I'm not sure I'd say
I wouldn't say a blinder. Vettel screwed himself.
Well, in terms of their strategy, they did everything they could in terms of using Vettel to block him, is what I mean.
But do you think? I don't think at that stage they're using Vettel. I think Vettel's put himself in that situation where he's screwed his tyres. And
I did mean later on.
You mean later on?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't think they used Vettel as such. I think Vettel was a sitting duck, and it wouldn't have made sense for him to have pitted then, purely because, well, one, obviously Leclerc's in the lead, but also they don't know if Hamilton's going to cruise by. They don't know how the Mercedes is going to act on their tyres. So I don't know if I think it just fell into their laps and they were like, okay, Vettel's number 2 now.
Yeah. Oh, it was good. It's a good way to spin it. Oh yeah. We just used Vettel as to slow Hamilton down.
Do you see the picture? They're all pointing at Vettel like, oh, he's the hero in the Ferrari picture and stuff. I don't know. I'm not sure about that one, but
I think they used Vettel very well and kept him out there because they knew that they needed to protect Leclerc, and if they hadn't have done that, Hamilton would have won the race because he was only 0.8 behind him at the end. I mean, one more lap, I think Hamilton would have got him, which is crazy to think.
How close it came down to it. But yeah, I mean, Vettel did a great job, obviously.
I am enjoying these. I'm sure it was bad for your heart, but I am enjoying these chase down for the win.
We seem to have had a lot of those recently.
Yeah, we have.
Austria. There was one at Russia with Bottas and Vettel a few years ago, and
Bahrain, Monza last year.
I'm sure we never, because a lot of the arguments were that Formula One, you often the person leading into first corner wins a race, and it doesn't really go down to the wire where anyone has a chance. But it seems like a lot of races recently we've had that where it's gone right down to the end, and
it's epic.
My heart was absolutely racing at the end. It was so nerve-wracking when Hamilton was catching him. I didn't think he had anything left. I think it was when the gap went from about 5 seconds to about 2.8.
And then caught back markers.
Whoa,
and I was like, there's 4 back markers in front of
Surely this can't be happening. Yeah, it was a really exciting race.
Considering as well that this is the longest circuit on the calendar, everyone was pretty close. I mean, obviously there was like the packs kind of opened up again, and like, you know, Norris had a nothing race. He was all on his own in fifth, but everywhere else it seemed to be like quite close. And even I felt like in qualifying, everyone, I mean, we had insane amounts of traffic all on the same section of track. And considering it is the longest circuit, you'd think that people would be able to space themselves out, or a gap would naturally open up in the race. But everybody, at least in the midfield,
it seemed like everyone in the
really
midfield
close.
battled with everyone.
Yeah,
I think
it was
Magnussen
really good.
especially got overtaken by every midfield car in about 5 laps.
Backwards, didn't
Yeah,
he?
I think definitely with the midfield, they were obviously close, as you know, they seem to be a running trend where they just you don't know who's going to come out on top. You had the Haas's in 6th and 7th. Next thing you know, they're in 16th. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. But I think in qualifying, it was quite, because I remember looking at the times and I was like, okay, Charles Leclerc's pole time is 5 seconds quicker than the Williams.
Yeah,
no, that's
silly.
Ridiculous, isn't it? That, you know, considering that you can't really compare Q1 times because they never run at full capacity, do they? There's still a lot of work for Williams to do, which is a shame. But I wanted to address this one about Ferrari very quickly. I think it's a bit of a troll question, but let's shut it down either way. Pabig_93 says, why did Ferrari ask the driver who is ahead of his teammate to move over? They cost Vettel a sure win and themselves a 1-2 finish. I actually saw more than just this person saying it, though. Yeah. There were some people that like, Vettel had it in the bag. What bag did he have?
I don't think they understand how tyres work that they wear during the race. Because, yes, he was in the lead, but...
Charles caught him at like 2 seconds a lap. Yeah. Easy. He was done.
Vettel also, he just locks up all the time.
He's loving a lock-up this year, isn't he?
All the time. There's something about that balance he is not like sweet on the brakes. So he right at the beginning of the race, he had flat spots that he was struggling with, which might have been another reason why they had to pit him early. But yeah, he's not good this year at tyre management at all. So,
which was something he was unbelievable at during the Red Bull era, where he was, you know, famous for going to Pirelli before anyone else, like almost like a Schumacher tactic, and working with Pirelli, and he was so good at managing the tyres, which was why he was so good during that era.
But now it's like
he's just
really bad.
Yeah, really bad.
Really bad.
And finally, on my 3-word race review, we've got one question from Wilder B. Says, does Lewis win if he doesn't have that bloody awful pit stop? Yes.
I mean, it would have been really close.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought the race was going to go... I thought Hamilton was going to have a run on him into the bus stop. Sean Connery. The bus stop chicane on the final lap, which, I mean, imagine.
It was 8 tenths, wasn't it, going through the bus stop chicane? One more lap and I would have cried so much.
And so I think the whole F1 community would have too.
Yeah, it had to happen. And that's why it was, the stars aligned, because it just about worked. Tommy, let's go to your 3-word race review.
Yeah, mine's a bit of a cheaty one, but
actually, you're cheating. Yeah.
RBR right again.
As in Red Bull Racing.
As in Red Bull Racing, because Red Bull's 2 words. So Red Bull correct.
And why do you say RBR right again?
Everyone was obviously quite triggered by another mid-season driver change, thinking, you know, maybe they should have put Kvyat in or not given Gasly enough time. But once again, Albon looked like a different driver to Gasly. He looked so confident in the car straight away. Not just the fact that he was...
Incorrect.
I'm not sure about
why.
That, yeah.
Not straight away. He was like... He actually admitted himself, first half of the race, he was not comfortable. He couldn't get tyres up to temperature. He was nowhere. He didn't have pace. And it was only when they swapped him onto softs that he managed to pick it up. And then once he had it, 100% agree. He was outstanding.
But him carving through the field, there were so many moves during that race where I was thinking, the problem with Gasly was he took so long to get through traffic.
Yeah.
And if you remember Austria, where he dropped back with Max got to first in about 5 laps or whatever, and Gasly just was battling Raikkonen for goodness knows how long. Albon was putting in moves. His one on Ricciardo was amazing. His one on Perez was very ballsy. Reminded me of the Manuel Maldonado overtake that we shared on our Instagram.
Yeah.
Almost a carbon copy of that. But yeah, he did struggle.
It took him till like lap 23, 24 to like make ground. Like if you look at his race, he's nowhere until halfway through the race.
But that's just the nature of the tyres and how he's...
Yeah, but he wasn't making any moves at the beginning of the race. And he had moves to make. I mean, he managed to get past Sainz on the grid because Sainz stalled.
Yep. Well, he made a great start.
Yeah, he made a great start. But apart from that, it really took him a wee while to get up to making those moves.
Yeah, I noticed that he wasn't making too many moves. I think he was sat in 12th, 13th for quite some time. But as
because
you say...
there was one point where Gasly was the leading Red Bull driver.
Yeah, that was quite funny.
Yeah, that was very funny. Not for too much longer though.
No.
But yeah, I think that was probably down to the mediums being just not that type of not a good tyre to start the race on. And they went quite a while on the softs, didn't they, with Albon? So clearly he did some pretty good tyre management whilst getting through the field as well. So as do _mate says thoughts on Albon's first performance, I'd say it's a pretty damn good one. You know,
it looked more impressive than any race Gasly's done all year. I'd say
it's just the moves. It's just it's making it look theatrical and just going for those moves. Gasly would not have gone around the outside.
Didn't do at all at Renault. Red Bull.
Yeah.
There are just so many overtakes where you think, just send it. You're in front of, you're behind a racing point. Yeah. You're going to be so much better on the brakes, and he just wouldn't go for them because he just wasn't confident in the car. And
then when he did, he usually ended up on the worst end of it.
Or crashing into Albon.
Just crash into the back of him. Awesome. Harry _Air says, why is Gasly good in a Toro Rosso but awful in a Red Bull?
We've spoken about this before. There's not, even though the cars look the same, they're not the same. The balance isn't the same. The engineers don't set them up the same. They've got strengths and weaknesses in different places, and drivers have to adapt to them. And as we've covered quite a lot, Gasly has always been good in a Toro Rosso. There's something about it. I mean, he doesn't have to say. Worth noting that Kvyat has Gasly's old setup and engineering things, so it's not quite exactly the same as when he was last at Toro Rosso, but.
Gasly didn't finish well though, did he?
No, not in the end.
I don't really understand.
He finished ninth.
Yeah.
I mean, in
ninth,
a Toro Rosso,
decent.
Yeah, and he started 16th.
He started 13th.
I was the 13th.
Kvyat started 19th and finished 7th.
So he gained 3 positions and no, more than that, 4 positions, and ended in the points.
It's solid. I wouldn't say it was good, but it was solid.
No, but from what you could see,
it's just good to see him looking confident again.
Yeah, he looked more confident. And he made moves. That's the thing. Like it's weird. It must be something generically, like just with the Toro Rosso. There must be something with it.
Less pressure as well, maybe.
I don't even think it's that. Like he's quick. I don't know. It's odd. But anyway, we'll see how that unfolds. I'm interested to see when Kvyat and Gasly just have that sort of ding-dong battle for the rest of the season, who actually comes out on top, because that could be very, very crucial.
Oh, geez, I didn't even notice Kvyat
finished 7th, right?
Yeah, and he was 19th.
Yeah, so
hell of a drive.
Better than Gasly. Anyway.
Then I don't think I saw Kvyat at all.
No.
Was he on screen at all? Did anyone talk about him?
When there was about 5 cars on screen, he was somewhere there.
It was one of those races where, again, sort of like back to what Albon was doing, because that battle between Hamilton and Leclerc was closing in at the end, a lot was going on in the midfield that we inevitably didn't see because the racing at the front was really good. It's understandable.
You can let them off. Jess, let's move on to your 3-word race review.
Yes, so mine is McLaren's run stalls. And by that I mean their run of good racing came to a very unfortunate end this weekend. Because they have been doing incredibly well this season. Sainz in particular has put in some absolute worldy performances in that McLaren. And obviously Lando had an absolutely, lucky start, I think I'll say. He put that car...
There was luck, yeah.
He put the car in the right place at the right time and then capitalised on it. So I think even he admitted that he wasn't quite expecting to have that much of a kind of window open up for him and just kind of, I think, what was it, 6 cars?
Yeah, you don't expect to go
He
from
gained?
11th to 5th through turn 1.
No.
No.
Like incredible. And he was quite hesitant. You saw like it was, I mean, rightfully so. There was a incident happening in front of him, but it wasn't like it was like an aggressive move into turn 1 and he got the position.
Yeah.
It was a cautious move into turn 1, but the right one. And then he made it, I think interestingly he made it stick, because all weekend the McLarens had a real struggle with pace. They were nowhere. Friday, Saturday, qualifying wasn't good.
I think that's the nature of their car, isn't it? They're not great on the sort of high speed tracks. They've always been better around like the Monacos and the Hungarys and stuff.
Yeah.
And Sainz obviously had bad luck. Like quali, as we kind of touched on, was really close. I think what was it? Lando missed out on Q3 by a 10th or something. Less than that. And then Sainz, obviously, apparently he was ready to go for one more lap. He was saving up for the last lap to kind of hopefully get into Q2. And then we had the Giovinazzi incident and it red flagged, and that meant that he didn't have another shot. So he ended up 17th. But then this weird engine problem arose, which obviously was very evident from the beginning for Sainz. He stalled on the grid. And then went into the pits and it just cut out completely.
Yeah.
And then when he came back out, again, I've not heard anything on this, so I don't know if you guys have. I was trying to look up what was happening, but do you remember it was when the safety car had come out because of Max's crash, and you saw him trundling way behind, obviously, because he'd been in the pits, but he was leaving the track and coming back on, and his car seemed all over the place. And then obviously eventually he pulled it off to one side, and then we extended the safety car period because they had to rescue his car. But it was like, what is going on with this car?
I wonder if they told him to pull over and then said, no, actually we've sorted it, and then
maybe it kept going into anti-stall, and then he managed to get it going again and whatever. But then obviously the same thing
on the last lap when you're in for your best result of your F1 career.
Yeah.
That's bad timing.
His radio, bless him, was just...
Well, something to behold if you catch the uncensored version. I mean, wow. Especially the little noise that he makes at the end. That's I don't know
squeak.
What that was. It genuinely sounds some sort of like alien. But anyway, it was heartbreaking.
Really, really heartbreaking.
Because we saw nothing of Lando the whole race, and fair enough, there was nothing going on in his race. He had a 20 second gap in front. And
I think he was helped, wasn't he, by Magnussen essentially
roadblock.
Holding everyone up.
Yeah, he got away. The Haas again just had unbelievably bad race pace, and everyone stuck behind him, let Lando get away, and then there was no other midfield people to challenge, really.
I'm very surprised we didn't hear any or much from Magnussen and Grosjean's team radio in terms of them crying, and
there was a little bit, wasn't there? There was that one bit of Grosjean where he said, I can't overtake. Stop telling me to overtake. Yeah. We've got no pace.
But I mean, because Magnussen a few races ago, didn't he? Said this, I've never driven a worse car and that sort of stuff.
But that was straight after he'd absolutely smashed it to smithereens, hadn't he? He'd crashed, and then they'd rebuilt the car, and then he started complaining about it, and everyone was like, well, if you hadn't have crashed it, maybe we'd be in a better position.
Well, it was Gunther that said that, so he probably never wants to say it again.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, he's probably like, I'm just not going to say anything over team radio, even though he lost a position down Kemmel Straight about 5 laps in a row.
5 laps in a row, yeah.
It was ridiculous.
I think there was a GIF I saw that you liked on Twitter, probably featuring an IBR of the guy running down the Kemmel Straight, and like not the Kemmel Straight. There's a GIF of someone running, and then someone behind them running like.
I know that I posted that GIF.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, that was you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thanks.
I'm sure it came up on my feed that you liked
GIF.
it.
Yeah, I liked my own tweet.
Did you steal the GIF?
Did I steal the GIF? I don't know. Anyway, yes. So McLaren, unfortunate for them, but I mean, positive in the fact their race pace was really, really good with Lando, and
they're not looking forward to Monza either, because it's going to be the same situation. But
hey, if Lando can get in a good position and break the slipstream toe from behind, which I'm sure there will be a lot of in this midfield, I can only imagine what, the amount of instances it's going to be into turn 1 next week. I probably should have put that in my predictions, but hey ho.
Oh yeah, damn, turn 1.
Let's talk about Max Verstappen, Tommy. Let's talk.
Not really
about
much to say,
Max
is
Verstappen.
there?
Marin Postgaj says Max or Kimi. Who's guilty?
At first I thought it was definitely Max. Watching it back, we watched it together, didn't we? And I didn't realise that Kimi had so much space on the outside. But to be fair, he was always going to turn in there. It's one of those like clumsy turn one at Spa incidents. We've seen it a lot at Spa. It's one of those corners where it's such a heavy braking zone. Everyone thinks they can gain an extra couple of positions.
I mean, there's a
and
reason,
if you don't have the cooperation of another driver and they don't dive out the way, which there's no reason Kimi should have, it's just a racing incident, I think.
There's a reason why we've had some pretty cataclysmic accidents at that first corner.
Exactly, yeah.
Like cars flying. Like last year we had Alonso flying over the top of Charles.
Yeah.
So
it's one of those. I mean, I'm not a Formula One driver. Shock.
Really?
I'm
You're
not. No, I'm not.
What?
I'm not a Formula One driver.
Oh.
But I don't know if you're the same. Playing Formula One games, even especially as a child, it's one of those corners where on any Formula One game you could make about 10 positions by just diving down the inside.
Yeah.
And
as
the
Lando did.
Lando did. He
exactly,
plays games,
and
right?
you know the temptation for those drivers just to do that. I'm sure. You know, he's got a car that's much better on the brakes.
Well, this all came from Max having a bad start.
Exactly.
Again.
Yeah.
And that Force India attacking Kimi.
Yeah.
I think there was just so
The
much.
what, sorry?
Swap
Racing Point Formula One team.
Sorry.
Right.
Where am
Crofty.
I? Well, actually, it was. I can't believe it was the anniversary of their takeover at Spa.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Wow.
It's been a whole year since they went through that whole administration.
And we still can't get it
and
right.
We still can't get
Did you
the
see the
name
FOM
right.
graphic was wrong as well?
No, it wasn't.
It said
No.
Sergio Perez has re-signed for Force India for 3 years.
No, it didn't.
Oh,
Oh my
no.
god.
I didn't notice it, but someone sent me a tweet saying it.
Oh
yeah.
my god.
That's bad.
Oh
Yeah.
god.
When F1 can't even do it, that's
Okay, I don't
that's
feel
the
so
problem.
bad.
Actually, mentioning about the bad start, Jamie Smith 0811 says bit overshadowed because he retired a few corners later, but another awful start for Max. Is this a serious hole in his racecraft? If he had a normal start, he wouldn't have ended up in the mess with Kimi.
We've seen it from both Red Bulls though, so I don't know if it's like a problem with the Red Bull. What do you think, Tommy?
I have no idea. It's not something they've mentioned. I don't remember after the race if he mentioned it, but the last 2 times he did have a problem. He won the race, so it was probably not.
He was like,
a
I'll
massive
just have a
discussion.
bad start. Nice.
But clearly it's something they do need to sort. I don't know how much of it was the frustration and maybe losing his head a little bit, but very questionable going into Eau Rouge with a broken steering as
Very
well.
strange.
I thought that was
Well, he almost took Kimi back out
exactly.
again, didn't he?
I thought it was a very odd thing to do. It was funny actually. Before when that happened, I had a feeling that it was going to be one of those races where a lot of drivers were making a lot of clumsy moves. I remember Hungary 2015 was the race after Jules Bianchi died, and they did a minute of silence on the grid, and that race was like absolutely bonkers. And I think a lot of drivers said afterwards that minute of silence really shook them a bit, and it made them question things, and they couldn't race as they normally would. And after that crash, I was thinking, I wonder if we're going to get another one of those races where a lot of people are making odd mistakes. And
we had the same thing in the F3 race though as well. Like we had I forget his name, Larkson.
Oh yeah, I know.
crashed.
Oh yeah, he had a big crash.
He had a big
Blanchimon,
crash,
yeah.
and I saw a lot of tweets coming out afterwards saying, you know, the actually, I should have looked up who tweeted this, but they said like, you know, the conduct during that race, considering what had happened the day before, was questionable.
Yeah.
As in, like, you know, you've just seen one of your colleagues lose their lives, and yet you're racing as if you don't give a shit about yours.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it is because, you know, that is the time where the drivers are trying to mentally prepare for what they're about to do. And if they're then made to face their own mortality, that can't... I mean, again, like, we're not Formula One drivers.
Yeah.
We don't go through their preparations or whatever. I mean, I guess you've kind of done a little bit around it when we did the
Project
Pro Gamer.
Yeah.
You went and did like psychological testing and stuff. But I just can't, like, it even got to me, like, having that minute silence, and I'm not a racer. But it's a strange thing to have to do to then strap yourself into a race car.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, obviously, it is important that everybody shows respect, but I often wonder if that is... And to do it twice, because the Formula One drivers did it twice.
Yeah.
That smacked as odd to me as well, because it's almost like... I don't know. Like, you can't... Even if you wanted to, you couldn't escape the fact that you have a job to do and get in the car and to race around and to race around the corner where someone just died. How do you mentally prepare for that? I don't think I could.
Yeah,
but that's,
and some of the people obviously were, but I think Daniel Ricciardo said that he almost considered not racing.
Yeah.
Gasly was very emotional at the end of the race.
Yeah.
You could tell that was pretty heavy on him because he was flatmates with him and very good friends.
Went to school with him and
so you can't imagine how you can do that job with any doubt in your mind. They must have huge mental strength to have raced in that race.
I think Hülkenberg was saying, like, you know, for a lot of people, it's just your adrenaline kicks in and you don't see anything else. You can't think of anything else. You just think of like what you have to do. You're almost not thinking. But yeah, interesting. I don't know. Like, I think everybody said it was a bit weird that Max just kind of, especially there, of all places.
Yeah.
Where you know people are flying through their full tilt and it's an unseen crest at the top.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he was thinking at the time.
Why? And he didn't get... There was no... Interestingly enough, there weren't really any reprimands at all.
No, they are being very lenient on accidents nowadays. I mean, they just let them get on with it, which...
Well, again, like, how many times have we spoken about whether stewards should get involved or not? But, you know, like that was a bit... I mean, he was really lucky he didn't cause an accident with Kimi. Because Kimi clipped him, or at least he got close enough.
He just went round the outside on the run-off, wasn't it, or something? Like he just swooped round the outside, but it was close.
Very close,
But anyway,
it was a questionable thing from Max, but I guess at the moment in time, he may not have believed that his steering arm was broken, even though he was kind of, I don't know what he was going through, but we don't know, do we?
No.
what they go through. I was hoping you'd have the jingle ready, but I guess you don't. Do you?
No, we'll just.
We'll just go. Now it's time for ABCDEF1. Right, there we go. We've actually had to turn around Red Bull and Toro Rosso on our list. So let's begin from the top. Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton.
I mean, it was a good that
they were outpaced in qualifying. Probably did as good as he could have done.
And then hunted, like, again, showing just insane.
Actually, I think he said he left a bit on the table in quali, didn't he? He said he could have maybe got second.
I'd say an A.
I'd say a solid, yeah. I think
you give him an A. He nearly won the race in a car that probably shouldn't have won the race.
Yeah?
Yeah, let's give him an A.
Yeah, okay. We're all very subdued. Like, I'm just like, can we just get through this bit?
Yeah. Valtteri Bottas. Let's do it quick then. Let's do it.
C.
Just
he wasn't there.
Just Ferrari, Sebastian Vettel.
C.
Kind of harsh, but
did he do?
Ended up, yeah.
He wasn't.
He won his teammate the race.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to give him a B.
For the team player.
Yep.
B driver.
But he ended up 4th, and he started 2nd.
Yeah, C.
And locked up 20 million
He said C,
times.
you said it was kind of harsh. So I was like, maybe a B. And
now you're
I'm going to go for a C.
Let's go for C. Charles Leclerc.
A.
A star.
Yeah.
Poland won the race.
I don't think he could have done any more.
In immense pressure and...
Yeah, he handled that unbelievably well,
considering
the circumstances as well.
He could have so easily lost his mind and locked up into the bus stop on the final lap or something.
Just a tiny snatch of the brake, as we saw with Vettel. And he's under pressure and he's passed. So, fair.
Fair play.
Red Bull, Max Verstappen, F, U.
Oh, yeah, F.
F, U, not F, U. U. Let's go with U, ungradable.
Yeah,
not ungradable, F. Now, ungradable is when we don't know.
Ungradable,
F is when he fails.
Yeah, I mean...
No, I think he deserves an F.
We're going to grade him as an ungradable. We're going to give him a U. Okay.
A U.
Alex Albon, I'm going to say a B.
B, yeah.
B. But stars for...
B star.
as in like he gets special mention for his overtakes because they were some of those.
He was
Ricardo
on
move.
Max's pace in FP1. Like, he was a lot closer than Gasly was. You spent a lot of time.
Gasly has had the occasional FP, and we were like, okay. And then we get to the race, and he was 9 seconds.
Yeah, qualified him once. Remember
that time when Max didn't qualify?
That time
Predicted it though, didn't I?
Yeah.
Renault, Daniel Ricciardo.
that's tough because
He got punted by Stroll.
and then they just kept him out.
To be fair, that was literally the only strategy they could have given him.
Could have done a 2-stop and just tried to go.
But he had to pit, didn't he? He pitted at the start.
He pitted at the start, but they could have maybe done a 2-stop.
We saw with Vettel, like it just didn't work.
Yeah.
But I think he might have saved a couple of positions rather than going.
It's one of those ones.
Backwards.
How do you grade
finish?
someone that got screwed by the
He
team?
finished. Where are we now? 14th.
Yeah. I think they were pretty much ruined. Spa is one of those tracks you don't want to pit on lap 1 because you literally have to go to the end. Okay, so what are we going to give him then?
C, D. It's not really his fault.
C, because Stroll punted him. Nico Hülkenberg. Was he in the race?
Had a solid. He finished 8th.
I literally don't remember.
I don't remember him being in the race. I almost thought he'd already been replaced by Ocon during the race. But genuinely, I remember during qualifying thinking, oh yeah, Hülkenberg, how's he doing against Ricciardo? Because he's obviously...
He just did what he had to do in that Renault, I think. I mean, he started 12th and he finished 8th.
Fair. That's a B then.
That's a B from me.
Is it a B from you?
Yeah, why not?
Sure. Haas, Romain Grosjean.
I mean, both Haases, I think,
they were running so well. What is wrong
just
with
So
their
Magnussen
cars?
finished 12th and Roman finished 13th.
I mean, they were running...
8th
Grosjean
and
was like
9th.
2 seconds behind Norris at the beginning. And then they changed tyres and just fell off the cliff. It's mad.
I think even Sky were asking like Gunter. They were saying, "Are you scared of Sundays? Because you seem to qualify really well, and then during race you've got no pace.
Their car is just.
You've got no pace."
Okay, Romain Grosjean and Kevin Magnussen. Should we just collectively give them a C?
I think you're going to say A's then.
A C.
Yeah, C's for both of them.
Carlos Sainz, you cannot grade the man.
No, you can't really. Yeah,
he had the most terrible weekend possible.
Probably,
so ungradable.
Yeah.
Lando Norris, I'm going to give an A.
An A, yeah. Wasn't his fault. He would have had his best result in F1. Why would you not give him an A?
Why are you saying, that sounds like you want to give him a B.
No, I'll give him an A.
Okay, good. Because you gained 6 positions in turn 1.
No, I know, but do you know, like... Yeah, we won't go into
the
it.
sim racer in him pinched the apex beautifully. That's where you want to be on lap 1, right, Tommy? You want to be on the apex.
Yeah, just not when Kimi
Max
turns into you.
Yeah, unless there's another car there. Racing Point, not Force India. Sergio Perez, that's an A.
Yeah,
he did well,
really,
didn't he?
really
outperformed that.
He did really
dog
well
of a car.
Yeah, looking forward to predictions on that.
I think we might skip that for this week. Lance Stroll, no, D, E, punted Ricciardo.
He finished 10th.
Tough.
So you're just going to do it because he punted a driver you liked?
C.
Punted any driver. C. Okay, to be fair, because he
Double
actually got out of
finish for
he got
Racing
out of Q1
Point
as well, even though even though
oh my god, he did.
Racing Point should have been Stroll should have been higher up than that in a Racing Point at Spa.
C.
Oh wait, yeah.
C,
I was like, wait, he was 16th, but that was because of
penalties.
There
were so many penalties.
I couldn't keep up.
I was like, please stop. The fact that Russell started like 14th or something.
And Russ, I know we'll go on to that in a second. Sorry, I'm jumping the gun.
Kimi Raikkonen.
I mean, like
C. It's hard to grade him because
his car was ruined.
He had a great qualifying. You know, it should have been one of those races where he
would have probably finished best of the rest.
Yeah, but he didn't, did he?
Yeah, but he would have.
And he was apparently all that talk about. I mean, how funny was that when Ericsson turned up and everyone was losing their minds?
I forgot about that. Yeah,
and it was
because Kimi was injured.
Kimi hurt himself in a motocross accident, and he had a sore leg.
It's so funny because it was first reported he had like a tummy ache or something, and it was like I just bopped the mic. Yeah, just I know. I did like the Will Buxton sniffing the mic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
anyway,
brilliant. Well, that's a fantastic
great.
insight.
Thanks
so
much.
much,
Who are we
Tommy.
even talking about?
Kimi Raikkonen.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Ungradable.
But also, does anyone know what's going on with Ericsson?
Well, he's now just sacrificed an IndyCar race for no reason.
Although there was talk that he had been like fired or something.
Well,
no, he'd only
There were a lot of rumours flying around.
Yeah, there were.
It was more just the fact that they needed him in case, and
So F1
is
dibs.
more important than IndyCar,
They are.
which is true, to be fair.
They
Which
are,
I love
it is.
IndyCar.
Okay, so ungradable for
Ungradable.
Raikkonen and Antonio Giovinazzi E.
Oh, I thought he did so well.
And then bottled it on the last lap. Like, what are you doing, son?
He
Just
makes
stay
more
off the curb.
he makes more mistakes than
Where
any
was he when he
driver,
crashed? Because wasn't he in the points?
No.
I've forgotten
I can't
now.
remember.
I don't think so.
But I just remember he made moves on track, and
he made move into the wall.
he did spin at a really weird place.
He needs to stop making so many mistakes.
He
doesn't
loves
he, really?
a spin, doesn't he?
If he was fighting
he loves a
someone-
dramatic one, like into the barriers.
Such a drama queen.
Couldn't believe it when they were just, like last lap. The last lap was chaos.
I know,
Wasn't
it's
it?
like,
You
what's
had Lando
going on?
stopping, Giovinazzi in the wall. What else did you have?
Well, Leclerc getting caught.
Yeah, Leclerc getting caught. I was like,
Albon passing.
as soon
Perez.
as I saw Giovinazzi in the wall, I was like, safety car, please.
Yeah,
I thought they would have put it out, to be
Yeah, me
honest.
too.
But they didn't, even though they were just coming through that section at the time. But hey-ho. So Giovinazzi, I'm going to give an E because he crashed.
D.
An E?
D. I think D.
He crashed.
No, but I mean, like, what even is an E?
An E is, you did well, you made some moves, but you crashed.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Yeah, let's go with D.
Oh, I feel sorry for him this weekend,
Well,
though.
don't crash. Toro Rosso, Dan Kvyat.
He did, yeah.
He did great.
He did
A.
great.
A.
And really sorry he didn't get any airtime because
He did it. He had a science race where
Yeah,
you go from
just
last
silent.
to
7th.
almost best of the rest, and
How dare us have good races at the front, eh?
I
Like,
know,
Yeah.
right?
Bring back the boring old midfield battles.
don't say that.
They kept cutting to weird midfield battles, though. Like, I just remember, like, okay, cool, you're showing the midfield, but nothing's going on here right now, and everything's going on at the front. It was like, what? Why? Why are we watching
Just
this
the
train
F1
of
broadcasts
people?
these days.
Anyway,
What is going on with F1 just in general at the moment? Like, we're just having good races after good race after good race after good race after good race.
don't jinx
It's because we said
It's
it
done.
was
No, my jinxing's done
terrible.
now. I always jinx Leclerc. He won finally. The jinx is cursed. It's lifted.
You're right.
The jinx is lifted.
Maybe
the
that's-
curse is lifted.
Maybe that's how you don't jinx him, by not being able to say.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, so Kvyat we're going to give an A. Pierre Gasly we're going to give a B.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Williams. Well, we don't know where they were. Ungradable.
I mean,
George had a great qualifying.
And he
Up in
He
P14.
beat Kimi as well, so
He didn't get a penalty.
he
and therefore,
beat Kimi in the race.
he kept. Do you know what though? He kept P15, which they didn't think they were going. They didn't think they were going to stay there.
Let's give him the old B and C like we always do.
B for Russell, C
C
because
for
Kubica
Kubica.
finished behind
I
him.
mean,
We have no idea.
Kubica. Yeah, Kubica. Where did
Kubica jumped
Kubica
Raikkonen in the pits. I remember seeing that, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Whoa.
To be fair, Williams got the fastest pit stop again, like the
I know.
6th time
Well,
this
at least
year.
they're winning something.
Yeah, thank God.
But did you notice that when I think it might have been Russell came into the pits? Because
They
actually,
cut to them.
Sorry. My knee just cracked.
you talking about strange camera cutting.
Yeah.
They cut
It
to
was just
Williams
like,
in the
oh,
pits.
a Williams pit stop, and even Crofty was like, okay, we're seeing a Williams pit stop, cool. And
was like, oh, they're so
and
good
they're
at
so
pit
good at
stops.
pit stops, and then they bottled it. It
Oh,
was like
no.
the
Like a
only
3.5
time it
second.
gets shown.
So funny.
It was
Like-
really awkward watching that science pit stop as well because like the
when he stopped and then
rear jack had to
goes
go
up.
get the older.
starter upper. The what? Why would it go?
Well, because you have to put it in the end.
Predictions for Belgium. Let's go over what we predicted for Belgium, shall we, Tommy? I don't want to talk about it. But anyway, so I said Crofty will correct people on where Eau Rouge and Radion actually is. He
Oh my
did.
god, how many times?
Natalie Pinkham, shout out to you.
I genuinely, I was like, is Sky just gonna
They milked
rinse
it a lot.
this
Yeah.
thing?
Start of
Good old Pinks was hashtag
qualifying there in the
WTF1.
grandstand.
I mean, that was
kept
cool.
mentioning it.
Thanks, Natalie.
she
But
was
yeah,
great.
every single opportunity, it was those famous words,
Go on,
which
Tommy.
is kind of
One
like
last time for this
No,
year.
I'm good.
One last time for this year.
No,
Do it.
No,
I'm not doing it.
can't do
Okay.
it.
And so that was a point. And Ferrari will be within 2/10 of pole, which is
I mean,
technically
how do we?
Vettel was with.
no, he
No,
wasn't.
it wasn't.
He was nowhere near that.
No,
So
that's
no
that's
point.
incorrect.
That's
Yeah.
a zero.
That's zero. But I got one. Jess.
So my first one was we'll see a ballsy overtake through Blanchement,
We
I
didn't.
didn't. No, we didn't.
but I
did we?
think we
No.
should get half a point for Albon's ballsy
Around
overtake
a different
around
corner?
No name. Yeah, but my point was that with
0 points.
And my second one, which Tommy tried to like call me out on,
because you asked for half a point.
I never said red flags. I said we won't have a clean session all
You did
weekend.
actually say red flags. I'm pretty sure you did.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, we did. We had the conversation.
I went back
This
and
was
listened.
before we filmed.
It doesn't matter. It's whatever was on the podcast, right? I went back and I listened. And
I'm pretty sure you said red flags. We were like,
won't.
come on.
No. I said
and then
we
you
won't
changed
have.
it
No, because
to
my
this.
point was that we would have rain and like things happening.
And we didn't, so no
including rain. No. We've had a discussion about this. The key to getting prediction points is to not make them too specific, right? So we didn't have a clean session all weekend.
FP1, didn't you say?
Yeah, FP1 that wasn't red flagged.
We'll give you a point. I'll allow it.
Yeah,
I'll allow it.
Yes.
I'll allow it.
Oh,
Shut
it's all right.
up,
I'm getting
Tommy.
100 points in a second anyway. So.
No, you're not. Vettel on
No.
wait, no, Vettel, your name's Tommy. Vettel on pole but doesn't win.
No,
That's
Absolutely
incorrect.
incorrect.
No.
And then Perez will be best of the rest.
Incorrect.
Now,
Which, what do you mean?
Incorrect.
He was best of the rest.
yeah.
And you both went, no, 0. Might as well put it in straight away.
Did we talk like that?
Yeah,
Are
you
we on
did.
Twitter?
You're not getting 100 points.
Did you put in brackets 100 points?
Yeah,
There you go,
because
1
cheeky
point.
man.
you said 2 points, if that came true.
When?
Yeah, if you can find the
camera.
video evidence of that, then
I should have filmed
by
it.
all means. Okay. Fans, wet qualifying by Levicious X.
Nope.
CFC_Craig. Sainz will overtake Gasly in the Drivers' Championship.
Nope.
Fathan Askar. Turn 1 crash after lights out.
Yes.
Yes.
So 1 point for the fans. Predictions for Monza. Leclerc 2 on the bounce from me. It's happening. This is it. Leclerc's winning every race from here on in. Going to win the championship.
I mean, this is probably going to be the only one
I
that
say-
he gets.
Whoa. I say predictions for Monza. This is just Matt's wish list. So,
Yeah.
'cause I've got Leclerc 2 on the bounce and then Hamilton retires.
Oh.
So
I mean,
No,
the
to be fair,
Tifosi
yeah.
would go
with the power unit.
nuts.
With the
that
power
was
units.
that was some strange goings on.
Was. Yeah, especially
They were
Kubicza's
all
one.
blowing up.
You don't ever see an engine blow up like that.
Unless they need to get Hamilton out in time.
Yeah, which is
Which
a
was quite
theory,
funny.
wasn't it? A theory.
Do you
that
reckon they've just
explode.
got? They've just got a button and they're like, go.
Yeah, genuinely, I was like, they've done that. They've run down to Williams and gone turn everything up to a
They've gone-
million.
It's only a Williams. They're going to be 19th or 20th.
Yeah.
Okay, Jess.
So my first one is there will be slipstream drama in quali, because there usually is.
Do you reckon it's going to be like we had it in Spa, didn't we? Where on the second run, they pretty much had to tell the drivers just get on with it because it's getting ridiculous because they were all trying to be at the back of the queue, weren't they? So
And we had that obviously like last year's race. We had the whole drama with Kimi and Seb and the fact that Kimi got the final toe, which gave him pole, and then that screwed up Ferrari's race pretty much and
Vettel's title
hopes. So yeah, I think we're gonna see more drama.
Speaking of drama in quali, just very quickly, the drama in Spa quali was ridiculous. The amount of close calls, Hamilton nearly rear-ending Bottas, and
Yeah,
That's what I mean. Though that's what I
odd.
was saying before. Like it was, why was everybody at the same part of the track?
yeah,
because they
considering
were all trying to
Considering
get
how
big
us.
big
split
it
of a
is.
circuit it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all trying to
Yeah.
get slipstream.
Well, they
yeah.
all moved. No, they had to move over because people were on quick runs and other people were on like warm up or slow down laps.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that was mad when Max
That
was
was
coming through.
weird.
You
Yeah,
know, it
and
was about
Kimi
10
came
cars.
through, and they
wasn't it
had
like
a near miss.
Ricardo? Ricardo came through as well
Yeah.
and was all in the way.
I actually quite like that. I'm like, this is.
It reminded me of there was a touring car race a couple of years ago where everyone came out the pits for qualifying, and it was a similar track to Monza. It's a Spielberg ring in Austria, and everyone obviously realised that if you go first, you're screwed because you're not getting a tow. And all the cars spent so long weaving that everyone missed the time around and no one qualified.
Oh no!
Wow.
It's a
What?
good video. You should try and watch
That's
it.
amazing.
Yeah. It's on WTF1 somewhere
Of course it
from
is.
a couple of years ago.
Jess, second prediction.
Gasly will gain the most positions.
Okay.
So
Tommy.
Vettel will win the race.
Nope.
It's
So,
long,
okay, so-
long overdue. So it's Vettel
Let me just put
versus
0.
Charles.
Let me just put 0 that on.
Yeah,
that
remember
right
when you said that last time? Was it 100 points if Vettel? And Ricciardo will beat both Red Bulls.
That's a
That's mad.
big ask.
Where's that coming from?
That Red Bull are terrible at Monza, and Canada was a race that favours that kind of downforce, and Danny Rick got 4th, was it, in that race?
Okay. All right.
Predictions.
I don't
Yeah,
know,
there's
yeah.
theory behind the
There is
madness, just
theory.
like the Perez one. Just saying.
Right, fan predictions. More Ferrari team orders at Ruben_hovers.
I can see that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some kind of...
I hope not, though, because that's what kind of ruined their race last year.
They're going to be quick around that track, and if Vettel and Leclerc are going for the same, both want a victory, it's going to be...
fest. Do you reckon Ferrari will run away with it? You reckon Mercedes will be anywhere near? No.
Well, yeah, I think it's going to be like Belgium. It'll be an open goal for them. So it's whether they trip and miss.
They nearly ballsed it up in Spa, so let's see how it goes in Monza. Hulkenberg is announced as a Haas driver, Matti Ken photo.
Do we think that's going to happen?
Maybe. Depends if...
I have no idea. It seems like that would be the logical place and one of the only places he could go.
That or Alfa Romeo, that people have been saying, haven't they?
Yeah. It'd be interesting. I think there needs to be a little bit more time for the midfield to sort itself out after the whole switch of Ocon going to Renault and everything changing around that.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to be more than one driver? How many drivers do you reckon from the current grid will drop out?
Kubica will go.
Sorry, the fans are getting involved.
Kubica will go.
Kubica fans are just
Oh, it's Robert.
I can hear Polish people are knocking on the door now, with pitchforks.
Knocking on the door with pitchforks. Surely they've just kicked the door down.
They're very polite.
They're very polite. Hey, excuse me, I want to stab you.
Carry on.
Kubica's probably going to go.
Who's going to replace him though? Latifi.
Latifi, I think. Yeah. Alpha, I reckon.
Giovinazzi
might go.
I think this race will be like.
If he makes another mistake,
I reckon he's already gone, to be honest.
I think that there'll be a switch there.
Okay, and finally, Albon will finish ahead of Verstappen. Alexander C 2,500.
I think that's only going to happen if he crashes.
We don't know that yet. We haven't seen a straight pace battle yet, have we? We've seen Albon coming through the field on inferior tyres.
It's a bit of an anomaly.
Yet.
Red Bull just not made for Monza, so you just don't really know how the car's going to do there, really.
Interesting to see. Right, we are done. This is the Belgian Grand Prix podcast signing out. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then please let us know in the comment section below and give us a like. And if you're listening on audio, then please also give us a 5-star rating, because we're not worth anything less than that, are we?
Don't I speak for yourself?
And so until next time, which is only a few days away, we will have the Italian Grand Prix. And I think the final word is obviously rest in peace, Anthoine.